If you've always wanted to learn how to play the piano but never got the chance, maybe you've thought things like, where do I even start? I'm too old. I don't have hours a day to spend practicing. Well, good news, it is not too late to start. You don't have to have a super fancy piano or be a musical genius or have hours a day practice in order to play the piano. You just have to have a plan. You can start playing the piano in 2022, and here's how. Step one in getting started at the piano is getting a piano or keyboard. A lot of people actually overthink this step and get stuck here. I don't want that to happen to you. I know that you want to find a perfect piano or keyboard to start on, but I'm going to cut all the fluff and tell you this. Even a cheap, less than ideal keyboard that gets you started playing is way better than sitting in indecision and having nothing at all to get started on. You can always upgrade later. But if you're thinking, what should I even be looking for? I have no idea. Ideally, you want a piano or a keyboard that has 88 keys, 88 weighted keys, has 88 weighted and working keys, so none of the keys are broken. Remember, this is ideally. You don't have to have this to get started. Depending on what your budget is, buying an instrument used is a great way to save money and helps you get started right away. I bought my piano used on Facebook Marketplace for $100. Am I planning on upgrading? Absolutely. But also, has it given me something to start playing on? Yup. So don't overthink this step. Something is better than nothing, and you can always upgrade later. Okay, step two is deciding on a learning method that works for you and gets you excited about playing. Okay, listen up. No matter what anybody tells you, learning how to play the piano is not a one-size-fits-all. There are many different ways of learning the piano. Now, this may take some experimenting to see what works best for you. Just remember that your learning method should be reflective of your piano goals. For example, if your primary goal is to sing and play the piano at the same time, I highly suggest starting to learn chords first. This will open up the door to a whole lot of songs that you can sing and play at the same time. Now, if singing and playing the piano at the same time is not a huge priority, you want to be able to play a lot of songs, and I highly suggest learning how to read sheet music. I know. If you're like, I can't learn how to read sheet music, or maybe you've tried learning how to read sheet music before, but you were totally overwhelmed. First of all, take a deep breath. There's actually an easier way to read sheet music. I talk about how you can read sheet music easier in this video, and I also have a free guide that you can download below. Now, there is a third way of learning how to play the piano, and it's right here on YouTube. And that's where you learn by synthesia. Synthesia? I actually don't know how to say it, but it's basically where you watch all these falling keys on the screen and then find the corresponding one on the piano. Now, I personally don't recommend this way of learning how to play the piano just because it doesn't help you actually understand anything about the piano or what's there. You're just kind of like playing a video game. If you want to try it right at the beginning to get you excited about playing a few songs, great. I highly recommend you either learn how to read sheet music or you start learning the basics of chords, because that will give you a better understanding of the piano for playing other songs. And step three in how to get started at the piano is deciding, how do you want to learn how to play the piano? Now, traditionally, people always thought if you wanted to learn how to play the piano, you had to find a teacher and take private lessons. But this thinking can end up being a big barrier for a lot of you guys, because you first have to find a teacher who's available to give you private lessons. And two, private lessons can end up being pretty expensive. If you have the ability and means to take private lessons, amazing. That's really gonna help you progress with some instant feedback and accountability every week. But if that's not an option right now, or maybe you just wanna try learning how to play the piano on your own for a little bit just to see if you like it, then here are my top 4 suggestions for you for learning how to play the piano outside of traditional private lessons. Number 1 is through a self-study book. This will break down the basics of how to play the piano, it'll explain it, lay it out, and then get you playing some easy and beginner songs. Number 2 is through finding a YouTube channel that really matches your vibe and aligns with what you're wanting to learn at the piano. There are so many different piano YouTube channels out there, and they all kind of have a different twist. So experiment, watch some videos, find one that you really connect with and that you feel like you'll be able to learn from and that will motivate you to play. Which reminds me, if you're liking this video and you want to see more like it, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so we can stay in touch. The third way you can learn how to play the piano outside of traditional lessons is through apps. I know a lot of people have used apps to get them started at the piano and have really enjoyed it. Once again, experiment, see if it works for you. A lot of apps have free trials, so you can kind of test it out before purchasing a membership. And the fourth way you can learn how to play the piano is through an online course or membership. Now, this is by far my top recommendation. Here's why. Unlike the other ways of learning where you're kind of just doing it on your own, oftentimes an online course or membership will give you access to a piano instructor so that they can give you feedback and help you if you get stuck along the way. And finally, we've reached the fourth step that you need to take in order to start learning how to play the piano. Now, this last one is really important important, maybe the most important one out of all of them, because even if you do all the other things in step 1, 2, or 3, you probably aren't actually going to make it stick unless you do this 4th step. And here it is, carving out time to practice. If you're learning how to play the piano as a hobby, you do not need to spend hours a day practicing, but you do need to practice and play in order to make it stick. And the more consistently you can play, the faster progress that you're going to make at the piano and the more fun that you're going to have. My recommendation is to spend about 20 minutes practicing about 3 to 4 times a week. You can always adjust that and spend more or less time playing during the week, but the 2 keys are that you stay consistent and adjust your practice schedule so that it fits into your lifestyle. You want to know exactly what to do during those 20 minutes so that you can see the most progress at the piano. I've got a video that I'm going to link up here. It's a 20-minute practice plan for beginners. I will break down exactly what you need to do when you sit down to play and practice at the piano. I hope this video has gotten you so hyped about getting started at the piano in 2022. This is your year to make it happen. You are going to start playing the piano and having so much fun as you do it. If you're still stuck on step 1 and you're not sure which piano or keyboard to buy, I'm gonna put this video right here for you to go watch next. It's gonna be able to help you to know what to look for in a piano, and I'm gonna give you some suggestions and places where you can look for a piano.